Among the Sleep tells a tragic story of a child with not a fully developed mind yet to understand the horrible factors of life and how the closest people around him can impact him the most. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator. There will be spoilers ahead about the game. With that said, let's begin. A 2-year-old child, alongside his best friend, a teddy bear, embarks on a surreal journey to find his mother and save her from mysterious shadow-like monsters hunting him. Things escalate, and when finally the child reaches his mother, the tragic truth of what is going on becomes too difficult for the child to comprehend. The story starts with the child, our imaginative protagonist, who is celebrating his 2nd birthday with his mother. The seemingly caring mother prepares a birthday cake and brings it to the table. Just as the mother feeds the child with some cake, the door gets knocked, which startles the mother. This abruptly impacts the mother's mood, who starts acting strange and goes to the door.
Through the tunnel, choo-choo! I'll be, right back. What are you doing? No!
An argument ensues after the mother says the words, "What are you doing?" with the room in front of our protagonist starting to distort. The mother shuts the door and comes back with a gift box, taking the child upstairs, presumably receiving a gift from the unknown man who she was arguing with earlier. Just as the mother is about to open the gift box in an upstairs room, the phone rings, yet again, changing the mother's mood into serious.
Dear, and play for a bit. Mommy will be right back.
The mother places the child in a guarded little space and leaves, with the child soon later escaping, finding a friendly teddy bear who is capable of speaking. They soon become good friends, with the teddy bear doing all the talking. The teddy bear has some patches over his body, and with a drawing of a teddy bear similar to this one on the child's wall, in a way suggests that in fact, this teddy bear is not new and belonged to the child before, with it being delivered back to him by the man whom the mother argued with. Suddenly, the teddy bear, conveniently called Teddy, instructs the child to go somewhere dark, inside the closet, and to shut the door, saying that he hopes that there are no monsters there, which insinuates that this teddy bear was gifted to the child by a previous husband or specific other of the mother, who acted as a guardian guide to the child in cases of arguments or other domestic abuse and neglect, which might cause trauma to the child. The teddy bear also mentions that whenever the child gets scared in a dark place, he should hug the teddy bear very tightly to feel safe. Yet again, another hint that this teddy bear acted as a comforter to the child, maybe a representation of the child's father, or an image of him, which the child imagines. It's possible the father even played with the child using the teddy bear, hence why the child sees the teddy bear as a living and talking character. As Teddy and the child explore inside the closet, they encounter long and maze-like corridors, when suddenly, the mother opens the closet doors and says that the child should stop hiding from Mommy. An early hint that the mother might have abused the child before, whether physically, mentally, or negligence. The mother puts the child into his crib, going to sleep. The child suddenly wakes up when it's dark, observing his teddy bear being taken away by an invisible force, presumably the mother sneakingly taking it away when the child is asleep. For a specific reason we'll get back to later. The child's crib then flips over, waking him up, who goes on exploring to find his teddy. While going through the corridors, the child notices boxes upon boxes with unintelligible texts, a sign that they moved into the new house recently, with the texts being unreadable as the child sees it that way, as he cannot read just yet. The child soon finds a badly drawn image, suggestive of a kid drawing, showing a dark figure next to his mother, as if it's latched to her.
Thank you. Something's not right. We need to find your mother.
After finding an almost drowned teddy inside the washing machine, he informs the child that something is not right with the mother and that they need to find her, corresponding with the drawing found earlier. Growling and monstrous noises are heard when suddenly the guard gate to downstairs opens and the child goes down to find his mother. Meanwhile, Teddy informs the child to tread lightly as there is a monster in the house. In the living room, the child finds several videotapes scattered haphazardly on the floor, with TV statics on, presumably the mother watching some better memories from the past, which caused her to break down. In the kitchen, several fruits are thrown down to the floor, with broken plates. Terrified to the sight, the child's heart starts beating fast. He manages to go to the mother's bedroom, but as he pulls the blanket, with a person obviously bulging the blanket up, he finds no one, with the distorted mother's voice being heard saying, "What?" when the door starts shutting and the room getting distorted again, which suggests that the mother is presumably present, but the child doesn't see her anymore, as possibly she's another version of herself, whom the child can't see to be his mother. In other words, a non-existing presence of her. A shrieking dark figure with boots and an umbrella then appears and scares the child, which might be a wicked version of the mother, when she's not too happy leaving the house, whom the child sees as a monster, with a real kinder version not being present anymore, which we'll get back to later. The child then travels to the basement where a distorted mirror reality exists. In there, he sees his mother talking about a locket she got from the child's grandmother, where the mother keeps an image of herself and the child. The Teddy notes that this is probably a good memory he has of his mother. He then goes through a magical pipe, leading him to a surreal place, where the Teddy and the child find a large playhouse. Inside, they find a sucking chamber, which accepts items from the child's memory, such as the locket. Placing the locket inside, it gets sucked and goes in a glass container next to a heavily fortified door. Teddy remarks that there are sounds coming from behind the door, and that placing the locket inside of one of the capsules, the memory the child shared with her, unlocked the door. And if they bring more memories, they could get Teddy and the child to her. A representation of good memories, presumably letting the child get to her mother and speak to her, unlocking her metaphorical, heavily fortified doors. A soft humming could be heard by the mother, which soon fades away. Going through the recently opened door, the child and Teddy go down through yet another pipe, leading them to another surreal world. Teddy notes that there's another good memory across a bridge, which they need to solve a few puzzles before getting to. The puzzles are in a playground with happy children sounds as if they're playing. Maybe an almost faded memory of the child being in a playground with his mother before. The child then gets locked inside a shed-like room, and when he gets out, the playroom transforms into a darker place. In search of little owl statues to solve a puzzle, in order to get across the bridge, the child hears distorted whispers of his mother, maybe a representation of a trip to playground which went wrong. Getting across the bridge, the child observes another happy memory where the mother played the child a calming melody from a music box. Going back to the playhouse, the child places the music box in another glass container of the door, which opens the door to yet another surreal world. Inside, an old house with a well, in search of yet another good memory to get to his mother. In there, he finds an incomplete jigsaw puzzle, which he needs to find the pieces for. As he collects the pieces, he hears echoes of his mother's previous memories. He hears arguments, and he sees paintings that change when he approaches them, of a man leaving a woman, an insinuation that the mother's husband left her. The child then encounters a shadow figure next to a well in a white night dress, similar to what he saw in one of the paintings, suggesting that in the child's imagination, he sees the angry, argumentative version of his mom in the shape of a shadow-like woman with frizzy, undone hair. In a barrel, the child finds bottles of booze and carvings of a figure standing in front of a child figure. The shadow figure keeps hunting the child, with the screen distorting in a similar fashion to the beginning when the mother was distracted by a knock at the door, suggesting when the mother becomes unhappy or angry, the child's world becomes distorted. More paintings showed that when the woman got left behind by her husband, drinks from the well, which has a dark, ink-like substance, causing her hair to become like root-like spikes, creating the shadow figure that is hunting the child. This ink was also observed in the beginning when the mother disappears, drawing comparison to the booze the mother drinks, causing her to become this entity, which the child sees as an evil, malevolent, dark substance, causing his mother to change. This monster keeps chasing after the child, with the only way to fight back being to hide in dark places, as suggested by Teddy early in the beginning. The child finally manages to reach the good memory of his mother reading a book to him. He procures this item and heads back to the playhouse. While there, the Teddy asks what that entity was, as she seemed to be sad and desperate, suggesting how his mother is. The child places the book in another container and goes through the door to obtain another object from a good memory. In the new surreal world, the child comes across a broken and deteriorated version of a house. In there, he encounters a new monster in a coat with glowing eyes. This monster gets triggered by loud noises and attacks the child, something that is experienced in the state of hangover, not liking loud noises. There are several empty bottles of booze which act as a trap in front of the child, and a hint that this monster is the hangover version of the mother, surrounded by empty booze bottles. In there, the child has yet another good memory of his mother playing with him with a pink elephant. Just as the child is about to go down a pipe back to the playhouse, he gets attacked by the monster, who takes the Teddy, with one of his arms getting torn off, throwing the child down a pit. The child wakes up and collects the torn off arm of the Teddy, finding himself in an endless space. Spotlights then turn on, showing the mother neglecting the child while she is drinking booze, with her momentarily transforming into the shadow woman from the forest called Haida. More flashes of spotlights show the mother transforming into the 3 different monsters the child encountered, saying how the father will not take him away from her, and how she liked to drown her sorrow, presumably from the breakup in booze.
Be quiet now. Mommy? Please go somewhere else. Oh, just one more.
He will not take you from me.
You can't, please. Do what Mommy says. I'm going to be very angry. None of us want that.
Therefore, the first monster who the child briefly gets jump scared by is called Harold, who wears boots and has an umbrella, suggesting to be the mother when she goes to shop for booze. The lady in forest called Haida wears a night dress with frizzy and messy hair, who's the mother when she's already drunk. And finally, the monster in a coat called the Heap is when the mother is hungover, who gets triggered by slightest noise and attacks the child, accompanied by empty bottles of booze. Circling back to the beginning when the mother takes the child out of the closet and says not to hide from her, suggests that Heap or the hungover mother attacked the child, hence why the child hid in the closet and why he saw her in a coat, as the closet contained a lot of similar coats. The child then runs to his playhouse, with the mother shouting that she will find him. He places the last item from Good Memories inside the door container and opens the door. The child goes back to his normal house, which is now extremely messy, with previous items the child encountered in the different realities being scattered around. The child, with not a fully developed mind just yet, finds several empty bottles of booze around the house. He finds his mother in the kitchen, drinking and sobbing, with all the curtains pulled and the teddy in her grasp, showing what a drunken mess she is, neglecting her son, trying to hide it from the public's view. When the child tries to take Teddy, the mother becomes angry and pushes the child, with the screen becoming distorted, just how every monster encounter was. The child tries to comfort his mother, but it's too late, with the mother not being present mentally and sobbing to herself. After several knocks on the door, the child goes to see who it is. When the door opens, with a bright, inviting light, he hears his father's voice, comforting him and saying not to worry, as everything will be okay. A figure that the child looked up to and saw the embodiment in the teddy bear, a good friend and a guardian. Therefore, the story of Among the Sleep is of a 2-year-old boy who is placed in a harsh reality of divorce with a mentally broken down mother who tries to drown her sorrow in booze. The mother doesn't allow the father to see his child, even on his birthday, as it seems she has the custody, but seemingly isn't fit to take care of the boy. In a short prologue, we learn more about this broken relationship, where the father neglects his wife and becomes drowned in work. This causes them to seek divorce, with the mother moving out of the house, taking the child. Things only get worse from there, with the mother becoming a wreck, neglecting and abusing the child in the process while drinking her problems away. The child, with an undeveloped mind, imagines the situation as such, with months present of the mother's pre, mid, and post-intoxication, with his only friend and guidance, the teddy, a representation of his dad, helping him. That is why the mother took the teddy away and tore its arm off, as it reminded her of him, and she didn't want anything of his to be close to the child, due to the grudge and resentment she feels against the father. The memories the child also collected throughout the game was a representation of the items and good memories he could display to his mother, so maybe then he could make a connection with her. Among the sleep is the cruel fate many kids had to face in their childhood. Something that shows the traumatic impacts parents' drinking problems leave on innocent children without a developed mind to even understand it. Folks, you can stay tuned for more horror or dramatic related content by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your host Star. Till the next video, have a fantastic day.